In a distant galaxy, on a planet far beyond Earth's reach, lived Princess Lyra, the rightful heir to the throne of the Zalith Empire. Born to the great Emperor Eldar and his queen, Lyra had always been special. With her shimmering silver hair, violet eyes, and the innate power to manipulate energy, she was destined to rule. However, not all in the Empire shared this belief. When Lyra was a mere child, her mother, the beloved Queen Alessandra, passed away, leaving her father to remarry. Her stepmother, Lady Illyra, was cunning, manipulative, and had a powerful drive to claim the throne for herself. Illyra's heart was filled with jealousy towards Lyra's beauty and power, seeing her as a threat to her own ambitions. Illyra did everything in her power to turn her stepdaughter into an outcast. She branded Lyra as flawed, calling her powers unpredictable and uncontrollable. Her beauty, once admired by the people of Zalith, was now seen as a symbol of weakness in Illyra's eyes, something that made Lyra an outcast. She isolated Lyra from the rest of the royal court, making her live in the cold, dark palace halls away from the eyes of the public. But Lyra, despite being abandoned by her own stepmother, remained strong, never giving in to Illyra's cruelty. Yet, she soon realized that her own kingdom's opinion of her was shifting. The whispers in the streets grew louder, and the citizens began to believe the rumors that the princess was nothing but a flawed heir. In time, even her father, Emperor Eldar, grew distant, unable to stand up against his new wife's influence. As Lyra grew older, she became more determined to prove her worth, but she also found herself struggling. She wandered the vast, desolate plains of Zalith, seeking solitude, a place where she could escape from the suffocating expectations of her world. One fateful day, while walking alone, she was captured by a group of Illyra's loyalists. The palace had grown so paranoid of Lyra's power that they sought to silence her once and for all. The loyalists, knowing that she was a threat to Illyra's rule, took Lyra far from the palace, leaving her to die in the harsh, barren wastelands of Zalith. It was in these desolate dunes that fate intervened. As Lyra lay bound, weak, and broken, a human ship crash-landed nearby. Her world had never encountered humans before, and the sight of a man emerging from the wreckage was both confusing and shocking. The human's name was Captain Adam Carter, a skilled mercenary and pilot. His mission was to recover valuable resources from the distant planet, unaware of its royal struggles. When he saw Lyra, frail and exhausted from the desert's unforgiving heat, his instincts kicked in. He rushed to her aid, cutting the ropes that bound her, pulling her from the sands, and taking her aboard his ship. At first, Lyra was uncertain of his intentions. She had been abandoned by her family, betrayed by her own people, and now here was this human, someone she'd never seen before. But Adam was different. He didn't see a flawed princess. He saw a woman who had been wronged, a person who deserved kindness, and most importantly, someone worth saving. Adam cared for Lyra as she recovered, treating her with compassion and respect. He listened to her tales of betrayal, of a stepmother who had tried to break her spirit, and of a kingdom that had turned its back on her. For the first time in her life, Lyra felt safe, not judged by the color of her skin or the powers she could not fully control. As days passed, Adam and Lyra grew closer. She began to realize that humanity, in all its imperfections, had something her own people did not: a sense of hope, strength, and compassion. They didn't measure people by their flaws or weaknesses. They saw potential and the will to rise above adversity. In Adam's company, Lyra found herself healing, not just physically, but emotionally. She began to believe in herself again. But the journey was far from over. Lyra's abandonment had left a deep scar, and her stepmother's influence was not something that could be easily dismissed. The loyalists who had captured her were still searching, and Illyra, too, had sent forces to find her and bring her back. Lyra knew that going back to Zalith meant facing Illyra, but she also knew that it was time to fight for her birthright. She and Adam devised a plan, one that would bring Lyra back to the palace, confront her stepmother, and reclaim the throne that had always belonged to her. With Adam by her side, Lyra returned to Zalith, ready to stand against her stepmother. The moment she stepped back into the palace, it was as if the air shifted. Her presence was undeniable, and the people of Zalith, who had once turned against her, now saw the power and grace she had always possessed. They saw the leader she was meant to be. Illyra, however, was not one to easily relinquish control. She confronted Lyra in the palace, her eyes cold and filled with malice. But Lyra had found her strength, and with Adam standing at her side, she faced her stepmother without fear. The battle between them was fierce, with Illyra using every bit of manipulation and power she had to try and break Lyra. But it was no use. Lyra's energy, her power to control the elements, burned brighter than ever before. With the support of her people and the strength she had gained from Adam's kindness, she defeated Illyra, reclaiming her rightful place as the Queen of Zalith. As the sun set over the vast desert of Zalith, Lyra stood tall, no longer a flawed princess, but a queen in her own right. She had been abandoned, betrayed, and broken, but with the help of a human who had seen her for who she truly was, she had risen above it all. Adam, the human who had saved her, became her closest ally, and together they ruled Zalith, a kingdom now filled with hope, compassion, and unity. Lyra's journey was far from over, but with her newfound strength and love for humanity, she was ready to lead her people into a brighter future. The flaws that had once defined her were now the very traits that made her powerful, and she was ready to show the universe that even the most abandoned soul could rise above with the right support and love. Ending, Lyra's reign was not without challenges, but every obstacle she faced only made her stronger. With Adam by her side, she proved to her people and the galaxy that a person's worth is not defined by their flaws or their past, but by their heart and their ability to rise above adversity. She had been abandoned by her family, betrayed by those she trusted, but in the end, she was not just a princess. She was a queen who had been saved by a human, and in turn, had saved an entire kingdom. Together, Lyra and Adam ruled Zalith, a symbol of hope and resilience in a galaxy that had once doubted them. They lived not just as rulers, but as partners, united by their love, their strength, and the belief that even the most flawed among us have the power to change the world.